Welcome back, guys. Today we go for our first MOT in over a decade, and we've only got 10 days to the Toyota National Day, so fingers crossed we pass. No pressure, let's go and take a look. Now then, in our last video we needed wheels and tyres, and that's been a bit of a saga in itself. The wheels that came with the car, as you know, in my opinion, were utterly disgusting. They were horrible. They didn't fill out the rear arches, and everything about them was just no. However, the Work a Keep 5 JDM split rims that came with the Unos Cosmo, and if you want to learn more about the Unos Cosmo, the only production car in the world to have a 3-rotor twin turbo engine, click on the pop-out banner at the top of the video to learn a little bit more. That car's got no engine, so it's off the road. So I thought, let's nick the wheels off of it, buy ourselves some beautiful new tyres and quickly refurb them. And that's kind of where the saga started. The best way to do it would have been to split them apart into their component parts, have them acid dipped, 2K primed, put together, polished, balanced, but we're up against it with the time. So on first glance, they didn't look too bad until we started flicking that grey paint, and it all just, it just fell off, and the corrosion was underneath it. It was awful. So we did our best. We rubbed them down until all the corrosion was gone. We hit them with some primer, then we hit them with some rattle can, I think it was Nissan gunmetal grey, and then many coats of lacquer, and from a few feet away they look pretty smart, but up close they're not that good. I then shot them in some beautiful Toyo Proxy Sport tyres, had them balanced up, and stupidly I pumped them up to 36 psi, and the way that this is crashing around on the road makes me think I should have put a little bit less in. But nevertheless, they're on the car, they fill out the rear arches nicely, and now we're on the road and we're on our way to that MOT test station. And if you're watching this from anywhere else in the world, an MOT is the annual test for safety and vehicle health in the UK that we have to do, unless your car is over 40 years old, in which case you are exempt and you don't have to do it, which is a little bit weird. But this car, 1994, does need an MOT and hasn't had one because it's been off the road for the last 10 years. So let's go. So far, as I've been talking, the car, apart from being a little bit crashy because of the overinflated tyres, is going along nicely, and initial impressions, it tracks very nicely. It tracks beautifully straight, and the steering is very, very light. The seats are very comfortable, and the blowers don't work, and it's 25 degrees today, so it's quite warm. But if you had your air conditioning on, I can imagine it's a very sumptuous, comfortable place to be. The engine is very quiet because the exhaust is completely standard, and the first thing I've noticed is the gearbox is not very keen to drop down. Is it a 4-speed, 5-speed? I'm not entirely sure, but obviously if, you've not got a huge amount of ratios to play with, so we're currently ticking along at 31 miles an hour, and we've dropped down to just under 2,000 RPM, and it's beautifully quiet. We're not warm enough to kick down just yet. And also brakes, they feel very grabby, they feel very positive. Obviously we've got new fluid, new discs and pads all round, apart from the pads at the back because they didn't fit. But this feels good. I mean, I want to get a few miles on the car, but of course we have no MOT, so we've got between here and the MOT station, and we want to do a little bit of braking, a little bit of kicking down, a little bit of accelerating, and it'll give us a chance to see if the car holds pressure, develops any leaks. But so far it's all good. One thing I have been making a mistake on is I've gone to indicate, and typical Japanese car, I've put my wipers on. standard stuff. Wiper is on the right. Should remember my old RX-7 days. Another thing that made me think, oh dear, should we abort and turn round? As I fired it up, I can hear a whirring from the fuel pump in the boot. Now, it's an uprated performance fuel pump. I've just got to hope that that is a quirk, and they are a little bit noisier than stock. But when I'm sat there at the lights at idle, I can hear a fuel pump whir in the back. Should I be worried? I would expect a level of refinement from the original Toyota pump to not be able to hear it and to be completely whisper smooth, just like every single other aspect of this car at the moment. Oh, and also guys, if you're in the comments section and you've got any ideas why this display with the fans and the HVAC controls is not lighting up at all, then hit me in the comments section, please. I'm assuming it's a fuse, potentially. I've been through the fuse box and checked the majority of the fuses because I had to replace a few, and that seemed okay. But yeah, I know the displays can bleed out on them from time to time, and this is no exception. The display that I can see, it has bled out, but when the sun hits it at a certain angle, it looks like it's lit up, but I press on and off and I press all the other buttons and I get no lights. And I certainly don't have any blowers, and I certainly don't have any air conditioning. So I probably should drop my window a little bit. I hope it's not stuck on hot. I'll cook. Hopefully you don't get too much wind noise. Yeah, it's, for now, it's going quite well. I've got about another 10 minutes to the station, and then hopefully up on the ramps, and it gives me a chance to have a good proper look underneath it, check those valve cover gaskets, and check it's nothing other than valve cover gaskets that are leaking as well. So yes, where are we? We're over a quarter of a tank. I stuck an extra 25 quid in on my way, which again is enough to get us there and back and MOT'd and whatnot. Temperature gauge up on half and seems pretty steady. Mileage indicated 166,091 kilometers, but by the looks of the speedo, it's already been converted to miles per hour, unless I was going along at half the speed limit and everyone else was doing the same, but I doubt it. We've just stopped because there's some horses in the road, because the garage is in a relatively rural location. Hello. Hi there, no problems at all. I was waiting for her to say, "Is that a Toyota Soarer?" But she didn't. She just carried on. Never mind. Oh, another car. Also, the route to the garage is on a single track lane with a ditch either side and minimal passing spots. Thank you. She seemed nice. Gearbox seems to have slickened up a little bit, and me being ever the pessimist, I smelt a little whiff of something burning. And I wish I hadn't. But at the same time, we've got a very oily engine and gearbox because of all the oil that's been splooging out for years from that valve cover gasket. And it's quite inaccessible to get down and clean it all out. So we just got to hope that it's just oil getting a bit warm. Fingers crossed. Should we try a little kick down? Would that be foolish? Probably. Lack of get up and go for sure. You put your foot down and the gearbox says, "Are you sure, sir? This is a 90s GT car." Let's try again. Lackluster. Let's call it low down torque with a lack of urgency, an extreme lack of urgency. Even my LS400 kicked down and went better than this, and that was the same age. Oh dear. Oh well, it is what it is. Oh, another vehicle. Fantastic. Fan-bloody-tastic. And he's stalled. Awkward. Thank you. He seemed happy. Must be a car guy. Oh, it's one of those gearboxes. It doesn't want to kick down more than one gear. So you can mild pedal, kick down, it will drop one gear and then just ride that swathe of torque. And then as soon as you lift off the throttle pedal, it goes change gear, into top. Please don't put your foot down again, James, you fool. It's got nothing. I can see why they strapped a turbo to the old boy. Oh well, all show and no go. But hopefully it's got enough go to get to the MOT station, get us a pass, a tick in the box, and then a go-go all the way to the Toyota National Day. Oh, hello. And if anybody's watching this and they are going up to the National Day, please come over and say hello. I look forward to seeing a lot of the Mark 1 MR2 boys. There's some very exciting car builds going on at the moment. Too many to mention. And I'm looking forward to seeing all of your guys' cars out there. And also I'm looking forward to seeing Neil Jones as well, because I've not seen him for a while. He's going to be there with the Eurovision car. One of arguably the most famous, apart from mine that got completely smashed to bits, one of probably the, let's call it the second most famous Mark 1 MR2 in the world. This is lovely. Well, we have ourselves an MOT, and that is another car saved, which is always nice. It sat up on the ramp and it purred away lovely. It didn't overheat. It passed emissions, which was nice. It passed emissions very well. The brakes were good. They were straight, they were true, they were strong brakes, there was no imbalance, and even the handbrake worked, which is always nice. The button that puts it in and out of drive and park exploded again, but never mind, we only need drive because we're only making forwards progress. The gearbox is slickened up and I'm very happy. However, the front brakes, I did a couple of heavy brakings on the main road into the MOT test station. And as much as they felt very grabby and very strong, when I got in, they looked kind of purple. So they've obviously got really, really hot. However, when it went on the rollers for brake testing, they were really strong at the front. And when you lift off the brake on the rollers, that was showing no resistance, and when we jacked it up you could turn the wheels round. So they're not binding, they're not grabbing. We're just gonna have to hope that, and if I lift off the brake pedal it just rolls forward. We're gonna have to hope that it's just a bedding in thing, and once they've had a few heat cycles and cooled down, all is well. And maybe that was my smell, but all in all, I am very happy. I did have one advisory for the 2 steering rack gator boots because they're perished. So we'll have to order a pair of those and pop those on, but it is not going to stop us going to the Toyota National Day, and that is where we're going next. We have, I believe, what is it, Thursday today? It's a week on Sunday. So we got about 10 days. So that gives me a chance to shake the car down further, fix that bloody button so I can put it back into park, and put some shakedown miles on. Check the car is reliable and good, wait for all that horrible oil to burn off of the block so that it all stops being all stinky. But we're in a much better place, and we have finally hit our deadline to get this car saved in 25 days, and we did it 10 days ahead of schedule. So I am very, very pleased. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching, and I will see you next, hopefully in person. That would be nice, at the at the Toyota National Day. There's over 500 cars going. Did you know? See you soon. Onward. It kicks down a bit better now as well. That sounds really good. I think it just needed a few miles.